Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Pioneer Prep. I'm Grimm from the Bug Out Boys, and the prep that we're going to be creating today is going to be the Trash Can Composter. So why don't I show you all that you're going to need to make this prep a reality. Everything that you see in front of you here is what you're going to need to make your very own trash can compost. Of course, you're going to need your trash can. I opted one with some wheels, so it's going to be easier to move around once it's loaded down, but I did not go with the most expensive trash can because you're going to be cutting holes in it. So why bother? You don't need that $90 deluxe trash can. I also decided to go with a 45-gallon because, as I understand it, the larger the container, the easier and the better the compost. After that, you're going to need your drill and your drill bits of choice, whether you decide to go with the regular drill bits, the saw drill bits for a wider hole, or one of the blade bits. It's totally up to you. I am going to use probably a combination of these two for mine. Now, optional is going to be the duct tape and the netting and the scissors, because like I said, I'm going to be using this to cut the holes on the side, and then I'm going to be cutting patches of the net and securing them with duct tape so I get maximum airflow, but all that material stays inside the trash can. So let's get to drilling. For the bottom, I'm going to be using a 1/2-inch drill bit because I do not want to compromise the structural integrity of the bottom, but we do need drain holes for the water. That's all I'm going to do for right now. I've picked some low-end spots for the water to trickle out from. I've kept plenty of plastic to keep the structural integrity, but there's also spaces that if I find out that the bottom of my compost is a little bit too mushy, too swampy, I can come back in here and put more holes in. Not a problem. Time for the lid now. I switched over to my saw blade drill bit because I'm going to want wider holes on top for good ventilation, but also to allow rainwater to get in this because we want our compost to be damp, not soaking. So again, keep the structural integrity of the lid and pop some holes in it. Now for the sides. And again, we do not want to compromise the structural integrity, so do not drill into angles like here or down here, but actually back here is a really good example. You would not want to drill into these because these are providing the structural support for the trash can, and you do not want to compromise the structural integrity. So here is fine, but this part here and probably even the corners, I wouldn't do it. And once again, I'm using my big old saw drill bit to do this. Once you have all your holes drilled, whether you decide to go with the spade drill bit or the saw drill bit or just the 1/2-inch, you're going to want to really clean all of this plastic off from the outside and the inside as well. There's quite a bit in there. So get that all cleaned out, whether you wash it out with your hose or whatnot. And then if you decide to go with the saw bit, now we are going to start screening in these holes. Now what I've done is I've taken this big old roll and a piece of it and just kind of laid it over top to get a rough estimate of the screen hole. And I think that's going to be pretty good for me. It's a nice little bit of overlap there. I'll use the duct tape to tape it down, and I'm going to do it individually. That way, in case one goes bad, I can take it off and replace it. If you wanted to do a whole strip here or a whole side, by all means, do that. Also, I'm just using duct tape for right now. If you want a more permanent solution, if you have an industrial staple gun, you could probably do that. Or if you wanted to buy a couple of nuts and bolts with some washers and secure it that way. But for me, the duct tape's going to do just fine. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you make your very own trash can composter. Now I know this looks a little trashy with all the silver duct tape, but I did that so you could see it better on camera. If you want to, use some black duct tape, or if you want to spray paint it before you start using it, by all means. Or again, if you just want to do all the tiny little holes, that's your prerogative. I like giving you options so you can do what's best for you. One more thing is that you do not want your composter sitting flat on the ground. Make sure it's elevated with a couple of bricks or logs or stick, whatever, so you can get that full air circulation going. And if you enjoyed this Pioneer Prep, please do subscribe, because there's going to be more Pioneer Preps, bots, reviews, and Bug Out Boy episodes along the way. And if you have any questions or comments about this trash can composter, or some suggestions on how to make it better, please leave those down below in the comment section. I love to read them, and you know I will get back to you. So till then, take care.